A committee of MPs have been sitting to discuss. They're on a mission to introduce a law to ban discrimination against those with afro hair. I didn't even know there was such a thing. And it just strikes me that with the country falling apart at the seams, and the world in such a precarious, dangerous state, that, you know, our representatives in the House of Commons, haven't they got anything better to do, anything more important to do? But I may be wrong. And I'm going to introduce someone now who was a witness at the committee and spoke to the committee. She's Barrister Paula Rhone-Adrien. Welcome to the show, Paula.
Good evening, Kevin. So good to see you.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Paula. I know you testified at this committee, and Isabel and I didn't even know there was discrimination against people with afro hair, and if there is, I think that's awful. But do you really think this is all that important, that the MPs should be spending their time discussing this while the country falls apart at the seams?
So, in short, yes. But let me take you back.
I knew you'd say that.
I need to correct you. So World Afro Hair Day is the 15th of September and it's celebrated around the world. It's an international day, recognised, Isabel will be very pleased to hear, by the UN. And it is the founder, Michel de Leon, who created this amazing day to celebrate afro hair because, of course...
All for that.
Yeah, because of course, Kevin, hair discrimination is real. It is a thing.
Is it?
And absolutely. And you'll be pleased to hear that you weren't the only person who had not understood that hair discrimination was a thing. And so myself...
I didn't know. It wasn't a question of not understanding. I didn't know it was such a thing. I understand what it means.
Yeah.
But well, okay, so tell us, Paula, before we sort of debate whether or not MPs should be doing this, what is afro hair discrimination?
So afro hair discrimination is when you are in the workplace and your natural hair is inhibiting you in terms of being able to take on a job or being able to engage in employment in the way that you would have expected to be able to do.
How though, Paula? How would a hairstyle affect your ability to do a job?
Yeah, let me give you a great example. So it impacts on your ability to do a job because you are told that by wearing your hair naturally, you will not be seen as being professional. So in my own experience, I was told that I wasn't to wear my hair in braids as a barrister, that I wasn't to wear my hair naturally because that wasn't considered to be professional, that I wouldn't receive instructions from clients. And in fact, it would put clients off because it just didn't fit the picture of what was expected of a barrister. So, for that reason, and this is me being specifically told that, Kevin, so it was nothing to do with my capability, it was nothing to do with my capacity, it was about my hair. And we see that, unfortunately, across the spectrum of our workplaces, teachers, people in the corporate industry, but we also see it in relation to children and children in school. And you'll be familiar with the stories, won't you, Kevin, of children who have turned up to school with dreadlocks, for example, or children who have turned up to school with hair in braids. Yes.
So it's not just the afro hair. It's, so we say, black hairstyles.
Yes.
Generally, yes?
Exactly. Texturised hair in its natural format, in its natural state. So we're not going to confuse this, for example, with, well, hang on a minute, my child went to school with purple hair or with a new kind of hairstyle. Yeah. No, we're talking about the natural state of a person's hair.
Okay. Well, look, Isabel, you get involved. I don't like the idea of discriminating against people for their hairstyles in any circumstance. But again, Isabel, you get involved. But I still feel that perhaps there are more important things for MPs to be dealing with right now than this. Your thoughts, Isabel?
Well, hi, Paula. It's good to see you. A little bird told me that you were in Parliament yesterday for this purpose, and I initially thought that it was an actual joke. You know, are you serious, or are you just winding me up? You know, is this just?
I actually told this little bird that you were going to love it, and that I thought that you would have wanted to be there, Isabel, to support me. That's what I actually told this little bird.
Well, that's one way of putting it. I love the entertainment value of it. And of course, like Kevin, I don't want to see any kids, you know, getting a hard time at school because of the way their hair is. Whatever, whether they're ginger or whether they've got any other type of funny hair, whatever. You know, not all of us are blessed with wonderful, I don't know what kind of hair we're all supposed to have. But anyway, no one wants to see discrimination.
We know what kind of hair we're supposed to have because the research tells us. So the research tells us that having straight hair, Isabel, is the most desired professional look across the board in relation to industries. So we actually do know what type of hair we are told we should have.
Okay. But two things here. What about no hair discrimination? I mean, is this in the proposals? I mean, baldies get a pretty hard time. I'm sure an awful lot of assumptions are made about people who have no hair, you know, whether that they're seen to be past it or, you know, less masculine or whatever it may be. And secondly, I listened respectfully to your description of what happened to you and how you were told, you know, you shouldn't have your hair in a certain way or whatever. And I thought, yeah, but you totally got over it. I mean, all of us in our professional lives have some conversations or interactions that are a bit suboptimal, you know, that we remember as being a bit hurtful or whatever. But come on, you know, you're a big hitting lawyer. You've made it despite that hurtful experience. And, you know, surely part of the qualification for getting on in life is being robust enough to deal with the odd little setback or an unpleasant comment or so on and so forth. We need to be a little...
Also, Paula, your hair looks lovely and completely professional to me. Let me ask you this. Look, we're not arguing with you about whether or not there should be discrimination against people with afro hair. We're all against that. That's a bad thing. I think what Isabel and I, well, what I'd like to ask you right away, you'll get the gist of my problem with this. How many MPs were on this committee?
So in the room, we had 4 MPs and 1 member of the House of Lords. But can I say, to come back to that initial question that you asked about how important it is and whether our MPs should be spending their time doing this. I'm very pleased to hear that whenever the bell rang for voting, they got up and left. Yeah. So, you know, they were in and out of the room, but they were able to give us time, respectfully give us time. I mean, look, Isabel, of course you make some good points about resilience, about being robust, about coming up against a manager or senior member of your work environment who wants to put you down. But that's not what I'm referencing here. You know, I am being told that I have to change my natural appearance in order to get a job. And that is discrimination at its very rawest. You know, the fact that it's okay to say to a person of colour, you will not receive instructions, or the fact that you can say to a child of colour, you must sit in isolation until you take your braids out. I mean, that is discrimination. We're not talking about somebody just being mean.
Yeah, well, listen, Paula, I mean, we're going to agree to disagree on whether or not MPs should spend their time on such matters, but we're not against your cause at all. I will point out one thing. I'm haunted by the memory once of going to see a movie. It was a long time ago. It was The Deer Hunter, and in those days, we're talking about late 70s or something like that. In those days, it starred Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep, but I digress. It was about the Vietnam War. But in those days, afro hairs were more common and I sat down. I was ready for the film, and then a guy with the biggest afro you've ever seen in your life sat in front of me, and I didn't get to see 1 second of the film. What do you say about that? that? What are we going to do about that particular problem?
Well, where is your resilience? You really haven't got over this incident, and you know, the next time I see you, I will give you a hug, and you know, I hope that I can help you.
You can help me with the healing process, okay?
Exactly.
Paula, great to speak to you. Thanks for coming on. Come on again soon. That's Paula Rhone-Adrien, barrister.